Hey guys, in today's video we'll cover an in-depth Maguu Kenki guide covering his attack patterns, his attack phases, what teams to use, etc. I hope you guys enjoy this video and I hope it helps you. So as many of us already know, the Maguu Kenki is a boss fight that happens in floor 12, chamber 2, first half of the Spiral Abyss currently, and his boss fight is mainly split into two phases, which is segregated by this attack, which we will call his ultimate for the rest of this video. During this attack phase, we want to avoid using characters' bursts such as Raiden Shogun's burst, where that one sweep that does a lot of damage will miss because he's invulnerable, so we'll miss out on a lot of DPS that way. So during the first phase of the fight, I'll recommend that we save at least one character's burst so that we can use the burst to evade his ultimate attack. Also, generally speaking, if you have enough DPS, you will want to throw only what's enough to take him down to that HP threshold where he will use his ultimate, because we want to save a bit of ultimates to use after this ability so that we can continue to DPS him in the second phase. Once in the second phase of the Maguu Kenki fight, his attacks will get more painful and enhanced. Hence, if you are not so good at dodging, it will be wise to carry a shield character. And lastly, the Maguu Kenki is actually immune to most ranged attacks, so for most of the fight, you want to keep a close distance to the Maguu Kenki, even if you are using a bow character, which I will show you guys later. Alright, with the general information out of the way, we'll now move on to the various attack patterns that the Maguu Kenki has and how to dodge them. We'll start off simple, so this is the easiest attack to dodge in my opinion. What he does is basically he comes out with this evil mask and then he throws it straight at you. So all you have to do to dodge this attack is to run or sprint to one of the sides, left or right. Alright, the next attack is a 3-hit attack by the Maguu Kenki. As you can see, it's very easy to dodge this also. All you have to do is sprint to one of the sides and he will have a period of significant downtime after this, so be prepared to unleash your DPS onto him. The next attack actually requires a little bit of skill and timing to dodge, but basically once you see that he's preparing to charge you, you can wait for the flash and then immediately run to one of the sides in order to dodge this attack. I'll replay this in slow motion so it's easier for you guys to catch it. Okay, next up we have this attack that he forms a mask which explodes, and the reason why this attack is pretty hard to dodge is because the mask will actually follow you, so no matter where you go, the mask will follow you and form at your character's current location. So if you can't get the hang of dodging this attack, I'll recommend you to actually use a burst to dodge it. Alright, and now his last attack, which is in my opinion the hardest to dodge. So from the moment that you spot that he's about to do this sweeping attack, I would say it's about 1.5 to 2 seconds, so you just find a way to reliably count 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds. Alternatively, you can use someone's burst as well. Now let's move on to the second phase of the fight, where his attacks are generally more confusing, more painful, and is the likely reason why you are here watching my video in the first place. So the first attack that is enhanced is actually his dash. So now, along with the normal dash, he also has an additional attack, which I tend to forget. So in the second phase, just remember that after his dash, you have to dodge one extra time because he will do this slash at the end. Alright, next up on the difficulty level, we have this 3-hit attack again, but it's just that now his 3-hit attack is supplemented with an additional Anemo Shadow. So now he's no longer as slow per se, so in between his attacks I wouldn't recommend you to try and attack him because those Anemo Shadows will attack you and interrupt. Okay, last but definitely not the least, we actually have a tie for the two hardest attacks of the Maguu Kenki's enhanced second phase. So the first one is when he comes out with a shadow and then he dashes straight back and unleashes 4 consecutive attacks onto you. So this in itself is not very hard to dodge per se, because you can just run to one of the sides in order to dodge. But things get complicated when he does this attack instead, as you can see over here. So apart from the shadow that he creates, this attack is actually the same as the first half for the sweeping attack. So you'll dodge it either by timing your sprint, using a burst, or just walking out of the radius. But then the problem once again comes when you mistake this attack for the previous attack. Alright, for the next part of this video, I'll be covering on key characters that I use to kill the Maguu Kenki in the best timing possible with a budget team comp. Alright, first up we have Burnett. Burnett is a pyro unit, he's also a healer, and he's a damage amplifier as well. So first things first, him being a pyro unit makes him fit very well into any team with another pyro unit because of how strong the pyro resonance is, giving your whole team an attack boost. So pyro is actually quite an offensive element because it's involved in reverse fade, melt, as well as overload. So Burnett is definitely a key character when it comes to amplifying the damage of your pyro DPS. Alright, next up we have Diona. So Diona is a cryo unit, so if you are running a melt composition, it is generally a good idea to have her in your team because not only is she a healer, she's also a shielder and she also offers damage reduction in her ultimate. Diona is also a unit that scales off of HP, so if you are not currently using a unit that scales off of HP, there's a chance that you might have a lot of HP percent artifacts that you are not using, hence you can just apply them onto Diona and you got yourself a nice healer for your team. Moreover, her shield has the element of cryo, which means that she gains extra damage absorption from some of the attacks of the Maguu Kenki, as some of them are cryo. The most notable being his ultimate, so if you fail to dodge, Diona can actually absorb most if not all of the damage of the Maguu Kenki's ultimate, depending on how well you build her. Of course, there's no other better shielder other than the Geo Archon himself, Zhongli, but then if you're already using him in the second half, or if you don't have him like me, then Diona is actually a very good character to use, especially since the Maguu Kenki is partially cryo. Next up we have Xingqiu. So as most of us already know, Xingqiu is quite a good support, but he excels especially well in this Maguu Kenki fight, especially if you have pyro DPS characters such as Klee, Hu Tao, etc. because he can apply Hydro to a single unit, in this case the Maguu Kenki himself, very quickly, and this enables your pyro unit to constantly proc reverse fade reactions, which amplifies your damage. And last but not least, we have Raiden Shogun. So the reason why she's on my list in budget team is because her entire kit is being used. So she passively generates energy for your entire team, and then her elemental skill constantly applies electro for your overload to work. And last but not least, her burst does a lot of damage. This makes her a very excellent candidate as a sub DPS and a support, especially if you want a character where every bit of resource you spend in them is converted into damage output for the entire team. So the reason why I would recommend you guys to work on the elemental reactions, especially for melt and vaporize, is because they directly amplify your damage by a multiple of 2, and this works simply by applying the correct elements in the correct order, which is considerably easier for the Maguu Kenki as it's a single target, so it makes things simpler. Even in the case of reverse vape and reverse melt, they still amplify your damage by 1.5 times, which is a very considerable amount of damage increase by simply just knowing what elements to put on the enemy. Last but not least, we have overload reactions as well. So overload reactions have a very nice scaling base off of elemental mastery, so don't be too quick to throw away those artifacts that have elemental mastery on them instead of your traditional attack percent, crit rate or crit damage, because those artifacts are actually good for overload team compositions. So for the next part of the video, I'll be covering on reaction based teams that can actually amplify your damage as a budget player. So for that reason, I won't be covering teams that are basically revolving around just that one person dealing damage by himself, like Xiao, Eula, etc. Okay, so now we jump straight into the first team. The first team, we have a reverse vape team by Yoimiya and Xingqiu basically. Burnett there to add the damage, Diona there just for a flexible 4th person slot. So the reason why I put Diona is, as I've discussed previously, so Diona gives you a lot of room for error because if you mess up, that cryo shield really saves your life. So basically any reverse vape team involving Xingqiu is super easy to use. All you have to do is pop his burst, and then after switch to your whatever pyro DPS you have. For my case is Yoimiya. Then you just start spamming your pyro damage onto the Maguu Kenki, and that's about it. And then for the 4th person slot, really you can just do anyone. Like for this case, my Diona is mainly just there to be a shielder so that I can afford to make mistakes, and also when I need to pop someone's burst to evade his attacks, then I just use my Diona's burst. Alright, that's about it for this team format. Enjoy the rest of this clip. Okay, next up we actually have an overload team composition. So a lot of people don't like to use this kind of overload team compositions because overload tends to knock enemies. But then Maguu Kenki, he being a boss, he doesn't get knocked. So you can fully utilize the damage you get from overload. And also, because overload has a very good scaling from elemental mastery, if your main DPS actually has good elemental mastery, like let's say your artifacts, you want critical rate, critical damage most of the time, but then if you get elemental mastery, it's not the end of the world for you because it actually gives you quite a lot of extra damage for overload team compositions. Alright, that's about it, so enjoy the rest of this clip. I'll see you in the next clip. I use this clip to showcase both melt and reverse melt. So you get melt when Ganyu's ultimate hits, and then Xiangling's ultimate hits after that. So cryo first, then pyro, you get melt. Then you get reverse melt when you don't have Ganyu's out, and then you have Xiangling's out. So Xiangling will apply the pyro, and then Ganyu will reverse melt off of that pyro. In this clip, I also use Diona because she's not only a healer but also a shielder, and she's a flexible last slot, so you can really just fit anyone there. If you have Zhongli, you can put Zhongli there also. Alright, so I use this last clip to show you guys what a super under-leveled team would look like. So in this clip, everyone is either level 70 upon 80 or level 80 upon 80. There is no one that is fully ascended, and Kaeya being a sub DPS is considerably under-leveled, but due to the power of melt and reverse melt, the damage is actually amplified by quite a lot. So those 13k numbers that you see, right, the reason why they're 13k is because I had a multiplier of 1.5 times when applying these elemental reactions. So with this team, although it takes a significantly longer amount of time to kill the Maguu Kenki, that's because I didn't put as much resources into this team as I did with most of my other teams. And this team is really severely under-leveled. So most of the time, your team won't be so under-leveled, but I use this clip just to show you guys that elemental reactions actually make a very big difference to your team's total damage output. So with that, you guys get your answer. The key to defeating the Maguu Kenki is all about knowing his attack patterns, how to dodge him, and using elemental reactions such as Melt, Vaporize, and Overload to amplify your damage against this single target boss fight. So if you found this video helpful, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And please help me to share this video for those people who are struggling with the Maguu Kenki so that I can help more people with my videos. I upload videos every Wednesday and Sunday 6 PM Singapore time, but if you cannot remember that, then you can subscribe to me so that you don't even have to remember that I uploaded a video because YouTube will remind you. Okay, so thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Beauty Samurai.